We'll get started here in just a second. Thanks for your patience, everybody. There was some technological mishaps and then a couple of technological mistakes on my part. So that was, but we're here. We're here now. We got this. So a couple minutes and we'll get rolling. All right, I'll go ahead and just kind of lay out what we can expect, and then we'll get into this. Of course, there's nothing like a party where none of us can see each other and where I'm talking in an empty room to people I can't see. But we're going to make the best out of this. And so what's going to happen is pretty much all the interaction is going to be in the chat feature. So you'll see that on the side of your screen. And so there's going to be, I'm going to say just a brief word expressing my gratitude to you guys. There's going to be a couple different games that are pretty simple, straightforward, sort of guessing game types things. I believe there are some prizes that you can win in there. Look for instructions in the chat if I get anything wrong or miss any details. We have a couple people from the Good Book Company over there who will help get me straightened out. And then there's going to be a Q&A, which I'll tee up here in a minute as well, where you can submit questions. They'll get fed to me, and I will do my best to answer them as succinctly and clearly as possible. But to start off, I mainly want to say thank you to you guys for your support of this book. It is a weird time to release a book, and it's an even weirder time to release a book about happiness. So to have as many of you as did commit to buy it, commit to read it. I mean, as an author, that's all I can ask for. All I can ask for is somebody who wants to read what I write, and it's always an honor. So thank you for doing that. That's generous of you. You gave time and money to this, and now your evening. So thank you for that. Thank you for the encouraging words that you gave back. Bethany from the Good Book Company was sharing those with me, putting them in a document that I could see, and just, again, it's so reaffirming and encouraging to have somebody read what I've written and say that it's meaningful, it matters, it's helpful, it's clear. Because again, I write, I send it out into the world, and I hope it matters. I hope it makes a difference and it helps folks. So your encouragement back is incredibly affirming and uplifting. And thank you for spreading the word about this through social media, through telling friends, through sharing copies. I mean, however you've done it. That's amazing to me that you would be kind enough to do that. So thank you for that as well. I really believe in this book. I don't set out to write a book in the hopes of kind of finding that perfect sales formula that'll scratch where everybody itches, as much as I do set out to write a book that matters to me. It's kind of the golden rule of writing for me is write a book that I would want to read. And so the fact that others also believe in it, others are interested in it, others are excited about it, is very uplifting, and it gives me a sense that I'm pointed in the right direction with this writing. So I've said it 17 times already, but thank you. My gratitude for you guys for your generosity is kind of through the roof right now. To be frank, I was a little reluctant to do a launch team. I don't love the concept because it feels like asking people to do me favors, but it really seems like you guys took joy in it, and that makes me really glad. So thank you for that. All right, now let's get into the party part of this. That was the sincerity part. The first thing we're going to do is a game of sorts. So what I'm going to do here momentarily is list 4 things, A, B, C, and D, that make me happy. You have to guess in the comments which one, A, B, C, or D, you think that I would get rid of if forced to choose. So I have to remove 25% of my happiness. You have to guess. And then if you get it right, I believe you have a chance to win something. And the Good Book Company folks will drop those instructions in the chat. So look for that. But I think this is a chance to win something by getting the right answer of choosing which of these 4 things I would discard to make myself less happy. So I have objects here to make this a little bit clearer and more memorable. So A is coffee. There's not actually coffee in this because it is too late at night and I'm too old to do that. But coffee is the first thing that makes me happy. So that's the first one. Would I discard coffee? You really need to know what the other 3 things are before you make that choice. Option B is baseball. I'm a Twins fan, and they just got swept out of the playoffs. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about what I might get rid of. But baseball, also, I always keep one of these on my desk. It's like my own version of a fidget spinner. Third, I can't really hold up an object for this, but is travel. So traveling, I have photos around my office from Israel, from Cuba, from New York City, from Uganda, from various places I've been. So C is travel. That is an option. I have a particular itch for travel right now because I've been cooped up in Nashville since COVID started, really. And then D, the 4th option, is stories. So this is a children's book. This is a book about superheroes. I love stories. I love fiction. I love novels. I love kids' stories. I love just if somebody can tell a good story and entertain me, I love it. So option A, coffee. Option B, baseball. Option C, travel. And option D is stories. So go ahead and get your guesses in. I see you guys answering. I'll wait a minute just to make sure, because if you answer after I give it away, that's cheating, and that makes nobody happy. So we're not going to allow for cheating. All right. A, B, C. Yep, somebody has guessed all of these so far. It's quite the array. All right. So for those of you who guessed option A, coffee, sorry, you're incorrect. Coffee is the Holy Spirit, and if I don't have it in the morning, I'm barely Christian. So coffee stays. Option B, baseball. Oh, nope, I don't think I can do it. I don't know that. I mean, right now I'm pretty sick of baseball because the Twins aren't in it, but I don't think I could get rid of it. So that leaves option C and D, travel and stories. So, oof. And the option of what I would get rid of, and this is a heartbreaker, is option C, travel. Not because I love it less than the others, but because I think you can get in a mindset to find happiness without travel. So I can find my way into other places through stories. I can read about them, I can hear about them, I can watch about them, but I don't think I can give up stories or baseball or coffee. So all 4 of those things are things that I really enjoy, but I'm going to hold on to coffee, baseball, and stories. And if somebody held a gun to my head, which would be very mean, I would give up travel. All right. I think the next thing up here is a Q&A. So you can submit your question, and you can be totally goofy. You can rake me over the coals for punting travel. So you can ask a question about anything. I mean, ideally in the realm of the book, but really go anywhere with it. They will be fed to me via text by somebody from Good Book Company, and I'll just answer them as they roll in. So go ahead and start submitting those, and we'll take this away here in just a second as we get a collection of them. All right, the first one has come in here, and the question is, one of my happiest memories as a PK, so pastor's kid, when I was younger. That's a very important question because I have written about how unhappy being a pastor's kid could be. But man, but there were a lot of great memories. So happiest PK memories, I think I would go with there's so much there was so much freedom coming and going from the church. I kind of owned the church like a second home. Like I knew all the nooks and crannies. I knew where all the snacks were kept, so I could like sneak in there on an average Thursday and go find all the graham crackers and juice for the nursery and just have a little party for myself. But just feeling at home at the church like that, where it was just I could come and I could go, and I knew all the people on staff, and nobody batted an eye when I walked through there. Was just it was a great feeling because, yeah, church didn't feel like an event to me. It just felt almost like a family gathering. So I would say that's kind of a collection of memories, but that sense of things as a pastor's kid is one. All right. This is a funny question. How much happier are you now that you finished writing the book on happiness? I'm very happy. Not just because I completed it, but I told somebody this earlier today. When you write a book, it's sort of like it's like an accountability metric for you. You have to live up to it. So, then I went back and read it for the audiobook, and so I had to kind of reintroduce myself to all the content in it. And I was like, yeah, I have to follow this stuff that I wrote. I asked other people to think this way. Now I have to live up to it. But I really believe what I wrote, so it helps. And every time you finish a large writing project, it's more relief than happiness. Happiness comes after a while, once it kind of settles, once the dust settles. At first, it's just like, I need a nap and more of that coffee. All right. Next question is, as you wrote the book, what was something that surprised you about the topic? Did you change your mind about anything related to happiness during your research? That's a kind of a wonderful two-edged sword question. I would say the thing that surprised me as I got into it, especially in looking at Ecclesiastes, was the role that mortality plays in genuine happiness. So the idea that keeping a realistic perspective on the fact that we're going to die actually helps us find the right kind of happiness. It frames happiness correctly, which is really counterintuitive because so much of happiness in this world, in this life, is avoiding the thought of death. In terms of changing my mind, I think it was more like having ideas fleshed out. So like, for example, I went into the book with a really firm belief that joy and happiness are basically the same thing. But articulating it well and defending it from scripture and putting it in a way that would help people see that was not something I just knew how to do off the top of my head. I had to dig for that a little bit. So that I would say is a thing that I didn't change my mind as much as I did come to greater clarity on it. All right. Oh, this is an interesting one. If you had to write a book on another feeling, what would it be? I think jealousy comes to mind, although I don't know that I have a whole book's worth of thoughts on jealousy. The other one would be fear. Especially maybe that just feels pressing because of our current context. COVID has people very afraid. The American political situation leaves us very uneasy. We are very confronted with the idea that we're not in control, which is a frightening thing. So fear would be one. But then also, as I think about it, trying to position fear as well. How does fear help us? Where does it direct us well, and where is it a weakness? I don't think that'll be my next book. I have no idea what my next one will be, but fear is probably at the front of my mind. Jealousy is an interesting one just because so much of what we encounter in life, especially through social media, through just the kind of keeping up with the Joneses mentality, is looking around us and wishing we were where somebody else is, wishing we had what somebody else has. I mean, it fits with the happiness idea, that sort of pursuit. But I think jealousy would be an interesting one if I could come up with 40,000 words on it. All right. Were there any sections on happiness you had to leave out of the book? No, not that come to mind. The one section that I was considering doing was similar to what I did with Ecclesiastes, with a kind of a walk through the book. Why does this matter so much? Doing something like that with Lamentations. which would be kind of the flip side of happiness. This, where does lament fit in this? But it really didn't seem to fit very well. I think it would have been extraneous. And I think I even wrote this in the last chapter of the book. Nobody likes that Christian book that's like 30% too long. So decided to cut that. But that would have been the one thing that maybe I would have included, just to kind of fill out the concept and give complete context. Next question is, what is your writing process like? Do you think about it and write it down all at once in small bits, in soap foam on the shower wall, etc.? Soap foam on the shower wall is how my memory works. You know, I might think of something and then it's just gone down the drain. So I need to do something a little bit more permanent. Usually, if I was going to take the process from A to Z for writing a book, there's usually some sort of idea that I start to see as thematic. So I see it popping up everywhere. Then I start to jot down notes about it. Once I get enough of those and I kind of see, oh, there's a bit of an arc here, I kind of try to organize those notes into, maybe this is a sequence of thought that's a whole potential book. And then once I get into the actual writing of it, you know, there's the outlining process, kind of chapter by chapter, which I don't enjoy at all. I hate outlining so much, but it's really valuable because it's the point of reference that I can go back to at any point in the writing and know that I'm on the right track. I'm not repeating myself. I'm not going to lose my train of thought. And then I actually outline each chapter by hand. So just have a Moleskine notebook or something, and I outline it. It's kind of looks like the scribblings of a madman. But doing it by hand helps me kind of methodically put the pieces in place and kind of massages it into my brain a little bit. I don't find that typing is a great way for me to create an idea. That's more of like the finish work. So the nuts and bolts are on paper, and then I type the rest out. And then I kind of edit as I go. So I rarely go back and read the whole thing for revisions as much as I do kind of write paragraphs and then rework them and then rework them, so that the drafts that I turn in are pretty clean. I mean, they're pretty much where I want them. An editor may say a little differently about how clean they are, but that's what a good editor does. But that's the basic writing process. All right. Can you share how something difficult or sad in your life has been used by God to eventually deepen your happiness? Yes. So big picture, I will say that a lot of the difficult and hard things in our life are intended to deepen our happiness, if in no other way than by making us grateful for the happy things. So in the midst of suffering, those little joys, those little happinesses, the laughter with a friend, the great meal, the movie, the comedy stand-up special, the whatever, kind of take on more meaning, because those are mercies from God in the midst of a dark time. So I wrote about this in the book, so this isn't, sharing anything new, but several years ago, I went through a divorce, which was really difficult and painful. And just, I mean, I don't know if any of the people watching have been through one, but it's sort of like experiencing a death in the family, except that there's like an ongoing process of interaction. It's not as clean as that. There's not a finality to it, so that the darkness and the difficulty and the transition continues for a good while. And it was really in the midst of that I learned or relearned the power of gratitude, which ties very closely to happiness. And coming out of that, as God has put my life back together, I got remarried a couple months ago, and that's one part of it. But just through church life, through relational life, through ministry life, just the pieces that God has put in place, that gratitude has made all of those things better. Because when my attitude sucks, I feel the conviction of the Spirit to move towards gratitude and recognize that I need to find those things that God has done to say, that's a reason to be happy. That's a reason to be, which is what I had to do in the midst of that dark time, because there was enough things that were very obviously unhappy. So seeking those things out, recognizing them for what they are and being thankful to God for them, raised the waterline on happiness. All right, last question, and then we're going to go to a trivia game. So before I answer the last questions, let me explain that game. I will be fed, I think, 10 questions. You will put in the comments the number you think out of 10 I will get right. So you're guessing in advance. And these are thematic questions pertaining to happiness. I don't know what they are. I could get 0. I could get all 10. I tend to be good at trivia, but I don't know what these are. So that's coming up next. So go ahead and put a number out of 10, and then there'll be a chance to win prizes for that as well. All right, last question. How has the Happy Rant been instrumental in your personal happiness? So for those of you who do not know, I co-host a podcast with Ted Cluck and Ronnie Martin called The Happy Rant, which the whole point of it is the world is full of very angry, jaded, shouting about things. And we try to act upset and angry about things in a way that we just kind of shrug off and generally don't take things too seriously. And so we sort of rant and sort of just meander through topics. It's pretty lighthearted. But how has that had an effect on my personal happiness? Well, there's a very simple answer, which is I really enjoy doing it. Ted and Ronnie are great friends and really brilliant co-hosts. And so we just have fun, and fun is a real thing. I think that's a gift from God. So is laughter. But the other aspect is it is a perpetual weekly reminder not to take too many things too seriously. Not that we're not serious men. Like, we care about our faith, we care about our families, but we don't want to be like pearl clutching, overly sincere people who can't just chuckle at the idiocy of the world sometimes. So keeping in that kind of mindset where we're serious about the right things and lighthearted about most things really does let a lot of the stress and fear and everything end up being sort of like water off a duck's back. So thank you for the questions. I believe we are moving to the trivia game. I see numbers coming in. Some of you have very little faith in me. A. Talbot put in 6.5. This is not a gambling game. These are not over-unders. I don't know if I get half credit, so we'll see how that works out. All right. Trivia question 1. Which is the happiest country in the world? And the options are Finland, Australia, Chile, or England. Ooh. Well, everything in Australia is trying to kill people. So as laid back as they are, I'm going to go not that one. It's not England. It's just not. It's too gray and rainy there. So that leaves Chile or Finland. I'm going to go with Finland. Finland is my final answer. I don't know if I'm finding out or if I'm getting a score at the end on this. So that's my answer for trivia question number 1. It was Finland. Nailed it. All right. Next question's coming in. All right. How many muscles does it take to smile? 15, 17, 29, or 42? Oh, well, I don't have any idea. So my rule on these is don't guess the extremes. So I'm going to take 15 and 42 out, and I'm going to guess 29. 29 muscles to smile. We'll see here in a moment. $17. Do I get half credit for that, for narrowing it down? So close. All right, next question's coming in. Can animals laugh? Yes or no? Well, I mean, anybody who's seen The Lion King knows that the hyenas laugh. It's very annoying. But yeah, so I'm going to go yes. I'm going to go yes. Animals can laugh. And I'm basing it on my zoological research from Disney. Answers coming in. Yes, dogs, rats, chimpanzees, and other apes make a sound in response to pleasure that is the equivalent of laughter. You know, that really makes laughter sound kind of inconsequential when it's just a sound in response to pleasure. But that's okay. I'll take it because I got the right answer. All right, next question. Which hormones are happy? Well, I have two daughters who are middle school and high school, so at this point, hormones don't sound happy to me. But the options are TSH, adrenaline, endorphins, or glucagon. I'm going to go with endorphins. Those are the ones that come from like the pleasure center in the brain, I think. So I'm going to go with endorphins. And the answer is endorphins. I think that means I'm 3 out of 4 so far. All right. What is the word for happy in Swahili? Oh, now we're making me do pronunciations. All right. Mahaba, Dua, Pawnee, or Furaha? I'm going to go with the fourth option, Furaha, because it sounds like laughing. And because I have no idea. Answer is Furaha. My guessing game is on point tonight. All right. In which country are there 6 villages called Silly, 12 called Billy, and 2 called Pratt? In which country are there 6 villages called Silly, 12 called Billy, and 2 called Pratt? It sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. Germany, France, Italy, or the United Kingdom? Well, I don't think the Germans would name anything silly. I think the French would turn up their nose at anything called silly or Billy. They might be Pratts, though. Italy, possibly, although they seem pretty laid back. So I'm going to go with the United Kingdom. The UK has these. The answer is incoming. France. Oh well. I wonder if that's because they were taken over by other countries so many times that other people named those. No offense to all the French people on this. How many times is the word happy in the song Happy? As in like the Pharrell song, I'm assuming, which was such a big hit, 4 years ago? 42, 103, 57, or 68? 68. That's my guess. And I now have that song stuck in my head. 68 it is. Or maybe that was yes to the Pharrell song. It was yes to the Pharrell song. 57 was the answer. So that means I've now missed 3. So anybody who guessed higher than 7, sorry. Which color is most associated with happiness? Blue, pink, purple, or yellow? I'm going to go yellow. I think yellow is. It seems like a bright, happy color. The answer is yellow. Oh, to Matt's comment that if I got it right, I had to sing it. Well, good thing I got it wrong. Well, that makes everybody happier. All right, next question. Is smiling a universal symbol for happiness? No, it's not. I saw like some TED talk about this. So if the answer is yes, I'm going to dispute it. But I'm going to go with no, it is not universal. Universal symbol equals yes. I dispute this. It does not mean happiness in every culture. But, I also don't know what they mean by universal symbol, and nobody's here to argue with me. So I'm just pounding the table in an empty room. Oh, I get the half credit. So I'm on track for 6.5. Whoever guessed that one, A. Talbot. All right. I think there's maybe 3 more questions or something. All right, James 5:13 says, is anyone happy? Let him, and then the options are be forgiven, call the elders of the church, sing songs of praise, not swear, not by heaven or earth or by any other oath. Let's see. James 5:13. I'm going to say sing songs of praise. Usually call the elders of the church when something's not happy. And forgiveness would be prior to happiness, I would think. So I'm going with sing songs of praise. There we go. So you're not supposed to swear when you're happy, guys. That's what I learned. Done. 6 out of 10, which was 6.5 because I got half credit on the one. So A. Talbot, who I said couldn't get halves, you nailed it. Anybody who got 6, I think you also nailed it. So I think Peter Anderson got it right. And so I think there are prizes, and the good book folks will tell you how to. There you go. So email publicity@thegoodbook.com, subject trivia, and you will win things. All right, y'all, that is a wrap on this. Like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I especially appreciate it in light of our technical snafus at the beginning and your willingness to jump around 2 or 3 times to get here. I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much for your support with the book. You have blessed me, and it really is a gift when readers are supportive like this. So thank you for being kind, and yeah, have a great night, y'all.